Hey you guys, so if you've been tuning in, we've been talking about why you should have a Facebook group and how you grow a Facebook group. Well, today we're going to continue the conversation and talk about how to get your Facebook people engaged. Welcome to your High Vibe Business. I'm Laura DeFranco.
And I'm Donnie Bovine.
And we are here to help you create your badass high vibe business.
What does it mean to have a high vibe business? It's that business you're excited about. It lights you up and it helps you unleash that inner badass and really go for it.
You are a lover and a warrior, and you're here to change the world with your business. We will give you the strategy and resources you need to take this all to the next level.
You shouldn't do this alone. Start hanging out with other badass entrepreneurs and watch how fast your business grows.
You guys, Donnie Bovine runs a successful coaching and speaking business, and he's spent over 2 decades mastering sales.
And Laura DeFranco is an expert healer, 2 times business owner, 6-time published author, and spoken word poet.
Together, we're here to help you create your high vibe business.
Awesome. So this will be a fun episode. This is one of my favorite things to do. I love playing around on Facebook. I love getting engagement. So we're going to try and give you as many tips and tricks as we go about this and have a little bit of fun talking about the different things that we're doing on a regular basis to get more engagement. Laura, why don't you start us off with...
Yeah, I guess in the beginning of Facebook groups for me, I would try everything and then sit there and wonder why people would not come into the sandbox and play with me. It's here's this free group and you're pouring all your energy into it and you want to get people started in conversations. And I don't know about you, but the biggest no-brainer after I learned about it, I wanted to be well, duh, but it was asking questions.
Yeah.
Just like a conversation.
Absolutely. I out the gate, I think I had kind of this guru complex, right? That I had to teach every day and drop all this knowledge. And I couldn't figure out, I get a every once in a while, and, people weren't saying anything. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And then literally it was one morning, I put a question out there. It was kind of one that was a frustration move for me, if I were completely honest. I'm like, what do you guys really want to talk about? Why is nobody talking in here? And then I got a bunch of happy faces and everything else. And they're like, well, have you thought about different ways to get engagement? And I went, they just responded, holy crap. There's the answers to flipping ask questions.
Yes.
So that's what I started employing in my groups was every morning, hit them with a profound thought, but ask a really, really interesting question that they want to be a part of. And that's been a huge game changer for me.
Definitely. And some of those questions can pertain to what you are doing, but some of the questions can just be hey, or it's not, this is another way to do it, but hey, just post a picture of your pet. Which is a whole nother topic we'll get to in a minute because it's not a question.
Right.
But how I liken this to go into a party and the shy person is they're at the party by themselves, they're standing over in the corner, they don't know anybody. And the best, if that's you, the best thing ever is when someone comes over to you and just starts asking you questions.
Yes, that is
right?
true.
You just want to be seen. You just want to be recognized. And so, I don't know, I think about that a lot when I'm in the Facebook group.
Yeah, so it's exactly that. What you got to understand is with your Facebook group, what you're trying to do is to create a community where people want to hang out. And that's really the trick to engagement is you're creating this safe environment where people want to connect, have conversations. Well, to do that, you got to get them talking. So the easiest way to get them talking is to start asking questions that your ideal client, your ideal avatar that's in the group will want to answer. And that's how I stumbled on what you were leading to is some of those other things that we do to get engagement that's a little bit beyond questions is I knew that my ideal avatar, which is in, my groups, I knew they were all animal lovers. And I knew a lot of them had this special picture of their pets or whatever else. Man, if you're in a group and you haven't done the post a picture of your pet, to watch how much all of a sudden your group gets engagement like mad, you're going to be blown away by how many people come in, and not just one picture of one animal. No, 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 no. They're going to put 12 pictures of every animal they have that's in their house, tell the story of it, and then everybody's going to comment on the pictures. It is probably one of my favorite viral posts that gets people engaged inside of groups.
Well, and I might play devil's advocate with you because I'm sure some of you listening are thinking, well, who cares about pets? Like, why does that even matter if I'm in a group and I'm working on this business of mine? And I guess what I want to tell you guys about that is every piece of information that you have about your prospective clients, including if they're a dog person or a cat person, or maybe they're a goat person like Donnie, you know, it's information that helps you speak to that client in other things like your sales copy and your website. So the more you know about them and the more that you get into conversations and understand them and kind of get in their head about their life, the better.
Well, it's like, you talked about joining the Mustang group, and I thought you were talking about horses and it was cars. But you even said, that first picture you put in there of your car, everybody was geeking out with you on there as well. And that's that vibe you're trying to create. So whatever it is you're into, because think about it. If all your people are, maybe they're music lovers, do a post asking what's their favorite songs, what's their favorite music. Or one of my other favorite posts, as always, is what's your favorite book? What are you reading at this moment? Or how do you work out? What's your morning routine? All these type of things gets people to go, hey, these people are just like me. They're doing a lot of things that are just like me. And the importance of that is that just like me move makes them want to come hang out and play more and be there more.
Yes, definitely. So you're going to have some people who don't comment. You're going to have some people who comment right away. Yay for you guys. You're brave. You're awesome, right?
Yep.
Because what you're doing by commenting, even if it feels a little vulnerable for whatever reason, depending on the question, you're giving another person that comes behind you permission to comment too. You're playing in the sandbox. You're like, hey, you guys, let's have some fun here. If you're on Facebook, what's coming up in my head is, well, there's lurkers. They're just going to read everything and they're not going to engage with you. And okay, maybe those people are those people, but how do you get the people who really want to engage, but they just don't know how, or they're afraid to for some reason? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. I always try to remind people that it's not about the person who comments. Because I promise you, as you're putting out content and you're showing up consistently and you're posting every day, you're going to get those 3 to 10 people that are going to comment on everything you do, right? And those people are so awesome. I love them. They're amazing. They make me feel energized every time they do. But what you're not seeing, especially if you go into the statistics backside of your group, is you'll see everybody else whose eyeballs are on that post. And you got and I like the term lurker because that's really the watchers, the people that are watching everything going on, is those people are still hanging out. They're still putting eyeballs on the content and you're still connecting with them. That's powerful. So, excuse me, don't look at the vanity side of things of, oh my God, nobody's liked or commented. You're going to find that people are staying engaged in a group by watching and maybe not even saying anything. It's really, really kind of cool to look at and know, because every once in a while you'll get a private message from somebody. They're like, hey, I've never commented in your group, but I just wanted to know, I really love your content and the things you're doing. And it's going to come out of left field. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know you were in the group, that kind of thing, because as your groups grow and get bigger, it's a really, really cool feeling.
Definitely I'm so glad you reminded all of us of that. There are a lot of people who are benefiting that you just don't know about yet. And isn't it cool when people do reach out, because it helps to keep going. It fuels you every day, but there's so many others that you may never know about, you guys. And I just want you to know they are there and they are paying attention. If you can even imagine them as you post and as you ask questions, and just know they're watching, and let that energy fill you, whether you know they're there or not. That's a different kind of energy. It's
Mm.
super high vibe to be fueled by that kind of thing. Like, whose life might you be changing just because you posted a message about whatever it is?
Yeah, no, I love it. And something else to think about. Half the battle, I think, is just showing up every day, right? And
Definitely.
and and getting that consistency down. And people ask me all the time, they're like, Donnie, how do you do so much on Facebook and still run your business? And I love telling them it's really not that much. I mean, I put one post out every morning. In the afternoons, I'll probably put a post out. The one thing that does take time consuming, effort out of me is I believe you should comment on every freaking comment that happens in your group. If somebody took time out of their day to leave a message, add to, contribute to whatever your post is, I don't care if it's just an emoji back to them. Comment somehow, because what that does is it makes them feel good. They're acknowledged and they want to come back and do more. And it lets others know that it's safe for them to post because they're not going to get pounced on for whatever their answer or response is. Right? Remember, this is that way to create that safe environment here.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, I got like two things to say about this, and the safety is the biggest one. So I think I'll start there. And the other one is about commenting. You can take that comment that you just made about commenting, and you can talk about blogs that way too. Like, if someone went to the trouble to put their energy in for a minute and comment on something there, you really should. I mean, that is business development right
Mm.
there, is to make sure you're taking a moment. But I want to drop back to the safety thing, because this actually happened to me very early on in my free Facebook group journey. And somebody came in and really was, I'll just say, super negative and on the edge of attack mode in there. And it was very personal. And you know how you're not supposed to take anything personally, this and that. But the thing is, if this is your free Facebook group we're talking about, you guys, you have the duty and the obligation to hold that safe space. And a lot of the people who are listening are healers, healthcare practitioners. There's a whole thing about healing and boundaries and keeping things safe for people, right? So if you're in this free Facebook group and someone's coming in with their negativity or their attack or this or that, it's your group. Kick them out.
Right?
I mean, there's no three strikes on that. If you're going to come in and do something like that in my free group, forget it, man. You're out of there. And so, yeah, right early on, I got very, very triggered by that. I had conversations with several people about what to do about it. Nowadays, it's a no-brainer for me. How do you deal with it, Donnie?
No, I'm the same way. I'm a one strike and you're gone type person. Because I know as my groups have grown over the years, I mean, they've become family. I know about their kids, I know about their vacations, I know a lot about them. They know a lot about my journey because I believe that one of the greatest tools to get engagement is to share your authentic side of what you're going through.
Yes.
Right. So, they get to see my baby goats born on the farm. They get to see the baby chickens, and all the different things that's going on in my life. Now, I will say, a lot of people ask me about my wife. I don't bring her into the social media game, and that's it's my choice to do social media. I don't bring her along for the ride, because I know as my career takes off, I'm going to keep her safe. So you very rarely will you ever see my wife, post anywhere that we're connected. And I say that is because that's the safety portion of the environment I want. And so in creating that environment, you've got to make everybody feel safe in that moment. So if you got one asshat that comes in and is bad mouthing the room, is over the top salesy or is Mr. Negative, I immediately remove them. And the reason I remove them is I've found over the years that people like that are very hard to change their spots. And I don't have enough time and energy in this world to try and teach them how to be a grown ass adult, in this wonderful world we live in. That's not my job. So I'm really, really quick, but I also, I put buffers in between me because guys, you'll see I'm very black and white on certain things. And so I have other admins in the group that help me regulate and keep everything. And that's a real key to making sure your group is amazing. Is having other people that champion what you do in there, helping you keep that environment safe, keep it clean, remove bad posts. I mean, I
And
just
engage.
yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
that's another fun little trick for engagement is if you have your admins in there, hey, send them a quick message and say, hey, I'm getting ready to post something. Would you do me a favor? Would you comment on this for me? And it gets those couple of comments going. And it's like being in a classroom and you like, anybody have any questions? And it's dead silence until one person has the courage to say, hey, I've got a question. And then the whole
Yes,
room opens up. It's the same
definitely.
thing with commenting, engaging, to get people to want to be there and be a part of it.
And you guys can do this for each other,
Mm.
right? In your different groups, and you can have, part of your team be that admin who helps you with engagement. It's fantastic to not feel alone in there because when something does go crazy and there's a lot of conversation around it, sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything. And, it's nice to have a helper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had started to make me think of a couple other things with engagement. So how do we know what I don't know, calling them fun things to ask about, and then how do we know how much business things to ask about, or maybe even call it direct sales? Like people
Yeah.
are going to know the difference about our questions usually. So what's your formula?
Well, for me, I'm always doing stuff to understand my avatar, if you will. So if I'm asking about what your pets are, if I'm asking about what your music is, for me, those are all fun questions, but they're all business development for me. And the reason I'm being is it's helping me refine how I'm talking to my avatar. So when I post in questions, I look at it all as leading towards business development because it's helping me understand, specifically who they are and how I should talk to them. And because my groups have gotten really used to this morning question, I've even got champions, that will come out and say, hey, if you're new to the group, welcome, glad to have you. The greatest thing you can do is answer his questions every morning. And they get used to that routine and they get used to that process. And if you get down to a system like that, you'll get people who are like, hey, dude, you haven't posted your question yet.
Yeah,
And I'm like, hold on, I'm getting there.
yeah.
But I think if you focus on social media as business and you look at it, this is a means to grow my business, and you structure it, how do I ask these questions to help them out and allow me to understand their needs more? It will really help you get the right engagement. Don't post to get engagement, right? Post to get information back from them, get answers. If you're posting things hoping that you're going to get some sort of attaboy or praise or something like that, it's never going to work.
And that's an energy thing, you guys. We're going to go back to talking about how you're doing this high vibe. Gut check yourself as you're typing that question. What kind of energy is in you, and what sort of thoughts are you having as you're even typing the question? What's the intent, the intention, the energy behind it? That matters. That's mindset, that's awareness. That's going to make a huge difference. You reminded me of something. I'm going to backtrack just a second on the safety of the group. It's so important, you guys, to set that up, those kinds of boundaries for the people who are in there and are being badass in your group. Remember, you've got that description of your group
Mm.
that you're typing up. And I learned a long time ago the hard way that you do want to have a few things in there about what you're not going to allow. And that's you setting your own boundaries. I try to make that as positive as possible. This is a group for, people who want to build their healing business, people who are going for it, people, and you make the list like that. But you can add a few things, what will not be tolerated.
Yeah.
And you can make that list there too. That's your first setup, right? For those boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. And you set the tone for your group. So if you want the right engagement, you've got to come at it with the right energy. Look at me going woo. And but that's it. It's got to be high vibe when you're in there, so people understand what's going on. and you can control that vibe, with how you're responding to the questions, how you're engaging, and how you're doing everything. So, it's really about showing up in that group how you show up in real life, right? And being
Definitely.
that authentic version of you in there so that you can really connect with these people. And the one thing I wanted to put on there about engagement in the business development piece is, if you've been asking questions and you've really been getting to know your people, when you have a webinar, a workshop, you have something coming up, it's really easy to go, hey, I've been loving reading your guys' responses on, what's one activity you do to start your morning. I've got a webinar coming up that's going to talk about things you may change in your morning routine to really grow, scale, and really get most out of life. When you fit a webinar that's surrounded by what you're talking about on a regular basis, they're comfortable. They're going to come, right? And they're going to want to be engaged with that because they're already comfortable talking about that kind of stuff on a regular basis.
Definitely. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to understand that as you make those relationships and be your authentic self. I think that's really key, you guys. If you want people to share and engage, you need to be sharing and engaging authentic, real stuff in your real life, being real. You got to go first. You got to be the trailblazer here. And then those people will, again, they'll feel like, oh, all right, they just shared something about their life that this is doable. I can do this too.
Absolutely. So to kind of wrap up this episode, just a couple of highlights for you to totally remember is: keep the group safe, be authentic, post questions to understand, post questions to get to know them, create a family environment where they want to be there, where they want to hang out, and be consistent, show up every day. Create a system and process where, hey, if it's a morning question, ask a morning question. If it's a morning quote, meme, something, get consistent in that so they get used to it, with everything you do. Any last word you want to add to that, Laura?
Yeah, we could talk a lot longer about this, and we're going to do another episode about Facebook groups. So stay tuned for the next one, you guys. But I guess the last thing about that is, when people are in your group, they've chosen to be there, just like an email list where you choose to sign up to be on somebody's community list, right? Treat them like gold. They chose to be there. It's a
Yeah.
different kind of animal than other things like your Facebook business page, where, just different animal. So just remember that they chose to be there. They want to hear from you, and treat them well.
Yeah, love that. Love that. So guys, if you got any sort of help out of this video, saw any value out of it, do me a favor and share this with a friend. One person that could really just benefit from hearing these words, this knowledge, this message. I know you hang out with other healer friends. We'd love to meet them. And leave us a review. Wherever you listen to this podcast app, go into that app, leave us a review. It helps other people find us, from where we're at. And as always,
Yes. Thank you, you guys. And if you want to take everything to the next level, you want to hear more about what we're doing, yourhighvibebiz.com. We've got an online mastermind. We've got some in-person stuff in Maryland with coaching options. We would love to have you visit the page and tell us what you think.
absolutely. Thanks, guys.
See ya.